EPDE 180RTS. My name is Andrew French. I'm Chair of the Kansas Corporation Commission. Joining us virtually are my colleagues, Commissioner Dwight D. Keene and Commissioner Annie Keither. To make participation in this hearing as convenient as possible, we're holding this hearing in person as well as virtually through Zoom, and we are also live streaming on YouTube. This docket was initiated by Empire District Electric Company, also doing business as Liberty, by filing an application with the Kansas Corporation Commission to increase its electric base rates by $15.8 million. Tonight's hearing will operate in two parts. The first part of the hearing is an informational session. You'll hear brief presentations from representatives of Liberty explaining its application. Next, you'll hear a presentation from the Citizens Utility Ratepayer Board, known as CURB, explaining its role in this process. And finally, you will hear a presentation from Commission staff explaining the KCC's role in the process. After those presentations, there will be an opportunity to ask questions about the application and the rate-making process. At the conclusion of the Q&A session, we will then take a short break. In the second part of the hearing, that will be your opportunity to make public comments on the record for the commissioners to consider in this docket. If you would like to address the commission with comments, please complete the sign-in sheet with our public affairs staff if you've not already done so. And I believe that is just right outside that door in the hallway as you came in. In addition to the comments made tonight, the commission is also accepting public comments on our website, by mail, or by calling the public affairs office, our public affairs office by telephone. Comments will be accepted until 5 p.m. on June 5th. All comments carry equal weight with the commission regardless of how they're provided, whether they're provided live, online, or over the phone, they will carry the same weight. If you need to leave tonight's meeting early, or if you aren't ready to make a comment, or you're just watching on YouTube, we do hope you'll consider one of the alternative methods of making a comment. And just so nobody's worried about trying to write that all down at the moment, we will put up a slide showing you the information on how to make comments multiple times tonight. I believe it's also in the information that our public affairs staff is handing out. So we will now begin the informational session. And our first presenter is Mr. Charlie Evans, Director of Rates and Regulatory Affairs for Liberty. Go ahead, Mr. Evans.
Thank you. Can we get the screen up so slide deck?
Michelle or Sean, could we get the, okay, very good.
Well, while they're working on that, did just want to take a moment to thank you all for attending this evening. I know all have busy lives, things to do, so just appreciate it. This is an important part of the process of the rate-making process. And so it's our opportunity to direct with you. We look forward to figuring your comments. I will also, it is important to the company. We have our president of Liberty Empire Electric is here on the bottom system. We have Tim Wilson. We have our director of our line transmission and distribution line operations group, Eric Gala here as well. And then for any of the potential media inquiries you may have, we have Director of Marketing Communications, Kelly Price, who's walking to the back now. She's got a name badge on. So if you have any requests of her, please feel free to find her. And while we're waiting on that, I will also say we have a fantastic group of billing reps and customer service reps out near the men's restroom to the left. There's an exit out here. And so if you have any specific billing questions or issues, I would encourage you to take the opportunity to stop on and talk to them directly. Because they'd be happy to help you.
No, we do not see it yet.
I will also start with the safety moments at Liberty. I'll go ahead and skip through it. It's on our slide deck, but at Liberty, we do it when we have more than 5 people in a meeting at a time. We start off the meeting off with a safety moment. And so a lot of our safety moments might not be relevant to some of your daily lives, but so I try to keep this relevant to you. With summer coming on, schools getting out, I know a lot of families take family trips. The first thing we want to talk about. So, what I would encourage you to do is get your vehicles looked at, have them, not just go check it, have an engine check, inspection, check your tires, just to make sure that everything's ready to go for the trips you want to take. So, and with that, you have a slide there, Beth.
Can you speak up a little bit? Some of us are really hard hearing.
Yes, I'll do my best. Thank you.
Thank
So Kansas current rates. Our base rates effective today were set July 1, like 2022. And that was in an abbreviated rate case as we filed. Probably like 12 months. And with that, we have an ad valorem surcharge rider, that's for property tax on our assets. And then there's the energy cost recovery rider, which is a pass through fuel and purchase power. And then winter storm Uri recovery rider is also in effect, and that is for those of you that remember winter storm Uri, there were some exorbitant cost incurred during that period of time. And so in this case, we will be requesting the reset base rates. And then we will, with that, the annual warm tax surcharge will also rebase. And we will request continuation of those additional charges. So the system, and that's really the story of this case, from the company's perspective, is about the investments that have been made into that system since that 2021 case. And some prime examples of that are the Baxter Springs substation. That was a $13.8 million investment made by the company. And that was a substation that was 50, 60 years old and had reached the end of its useful life. And so it needed to be replaced. There's also reinforced or replaced 836 poles and added wildlife guards to substations and devices to protect them from any potential related wildlife. We also reconducted 35.4 miles of distribution line. And we transitioned to a new enterprise-wide information system platform. And then obviously we are requesting the vision of the one projects as well. But they'll show the vision at this point. We are proud to be a part of this community. We are proud to serve our customers in Kansas. I think there's a lot of things to do outside of just utility service. We wanted to touch upon like supporting schools and students through participations, career day events, and we back to Baxter Springs Elementary. Support local athletic teams for the replacement and maintenance of Little League baseball field lights. We actually do career tours at our Riverton Power.
Right now.
With that, the revenue requirement, as it was, capped, amounted to 37 million. That's on a rate base of $146 million. And operating expenses of 20%. Company has requested a rate of 97.42%. And that ultimately yields like $15 million.
Unmuted my computer.
But I will say that you can see on the slide, with the inclusion of those wind products, that will actually affect the whole customer bill and do back some of these dollars. And this is the last slide I have for you guys. The company, this is the first time I've been involved in this. The company actually, as we were developing the revenue requirement, building the calculations, we understood we understand the struggle our customers go through with costs going up everywhere. And so this was the first time in my recollection that we actually came to our direct filing with a face. The idea of a phase-in rate approach. This is the first time that I've dealt with a client with phase-in rate approach. What that essentially does is it raises the rates, stair steps them up over a period of 3 years. And so you can see on the slide here, the base rate increase, that's that top whole line. It will go up significantly. And then you can see your total bill. So you're walking out to the mailbox. That bottom line total is really what the average rate of the customer using 1,000 kilowatt hours. Their bill will be the current rates, and then ultimately at the end of the process, you are fully earning, reporting where the rate is $89. And so still a very sizable increase. Fully understand that. But I just wanted to talk briefly about what the company did, because the phase-in rate approach is comes step to the whole. But we have regulatory assets. And many times we request recovery of those over a 3 to 5 year period. And in every instance we can reasonably do so, we stretch those amortization periods out. We conducted a depreciation study, or engaged a consultant to conduct a depreciation study. But we actually filed in our direct for a waiver of that depreciation study and the rates that fell out from it, because it would have yielded a sizable increase even on the that today. Additionally, proposed rate return on equity, we actually went a very low range of our consultant.
I've been with for 2 hours.
And then finally, rate design framework. Really intentional about balancing escalation. And what that means is, if residential customers pay everything it costs to serve, that may not be design. So the job share. I appreciate you guys giving me time. We obviously want to look forward to any questions you may have.
All right, thank you, Mr. Evans. We will now turn to our second presenter, Joseph Astrab, who is Consumer Counsel for PERB.
Can you hear me okay? All right, great. Thank you. Flip the slide, please. Good evening. My name is Joseph Astrab. I'm the Consumer Counsel for the Citizen Utility Ratepayer Board, otherwise known as PERB. And what we are a government agency that is tasked representing the interests of residential and small commercial ratepayers around the state under the Kansas Corporation jurisdiction. And so in my office, we're a pretty small group. We have myself, I'm also 3 attorneys, 3 rate analysts,
You got this.
What it means in this whole process
Okay.
is that we are almost like a separate party and advocate in cases before the
Go ahead and-
commission. So this rate case here, we are against
Go ahead,
the
go forward,
intervening
Sean.
and analysis and arguments and testimony on behalf of those interests of you all here in the room today. I've been to several of these public hearings, and so I kind of get the tenor of what people come in here to worry about bill increases and being able to pay for those. We're living in a time of rapid cost of living
Can you put your
increases,
lamps
the cost
aside
of
a couple?
groceries, the cost of gas, driving 3 hours here, I'll definitely
Yeah.
acutely aware of that, but, you know, these costs are going up and there doesn't seem to be a lot of relief in society.
He's
So
got it on this.
our
Go,
role
yeah,
as
go ahead and do one more.
KCC is maybe in a perfect world, we'd love to see no increases for our
And
residents.
maybe-
Live and work in the state, but sometimes that's not the reality. So what we do is we advocate and try to curb the increase of these rates and do it in a way that we're effectuating responsible spending and cost-effective service at a reasonable price. So we do that in this hearing here, both before the KCC and also before the Kansas legislature and the Kansas courts.
Okay, go ahead and.
So the KCC staff goes a bit more detail about this process. Generally speaking, the law requires utilities who have exclusive, service jurisdiction over an area to provide just and reasonable, reliable service for its residents and its customers. So that's kind of the overall theme we're looking to go for. Of course, these words may have various meanings from different parties' perspective, but from our perspective,
I think we're.
we want to make sure that we're paying service that we need and not.
Yeah, that's what's mentioned over here. Okay, now do the next one.
So in a case like this, referred to as a rate case, there can be a number of different parties. So the first is one aspect of this that contributes to the evidentiary record from which the commission will review and make a decision about where to set the rate and make determination based on the complex. So you can see in the slide here, the different types of examples of other types of parties who use their own interest in these cases that may be affected by utility rates. And so based on all that evidence, commission weighs it all, reviews it, and then applies its, you know, standards of the law, comes to a reasonable conclusion for where you're based on all that evidence. As a consumer advocate, we're concerned with probably one of the biggest things you're all thinking about is affordability, what that means for you. Some people might mean being able to afford your bills each month and still live comfortably. Others may think of affordability as being able to make the necessary upgrades or replacements to the system in order to receive the service that we expect every day in our lives. And so we have to balance that with other interests as well. Reliability and resilience in terms of emergencies and other situations is important. Here we expect to have service 24/7. Whenever we turn on the lights, we expect it to be on. Beyond, we don't expect to have rolling blackout. Sometimes we don't have access to electricity. And we have to recognize that sometimes that costs money to maintain that whole service. And so this balancing act between affordability and reliability can be tricky sometimes. But it's our prerogative to represent the best interest for you all, to make sure that we have cost-effective service at rates that we can afford. Electricity shouldn't be a luxury. Assuming the slide shown on your end, from my looking in, this is the position that we have filed. So parties in this case, including Curve, have submitted their own review of the company's filing and presented our own recommendations. Like I said, in a perfect world, we would like to have no increase so that those remain the same. However, as claimed by the company, they've had to make investments over the years in order to maintain the system. We do our review, we use our consultants and experts. We recommend that we follow a range of recommendations for an increase. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was flashing on your end. Yeah, I apologize.
Then working with technology, so, I hate to ask you to stop.
No, not a problem. I don't mind. I do want to get through quick to make sure that you all have time to make your comments, because really that's the important part here. So I'll give them a moment to get through the slides, and I'll talk generally after that, and then open that up. Michelle,
Would you be able to maybe stop sharing the presentation and just pull it back up, see if that fixes it?
It's showing on the screen up here for them, is it not?
Oh, it's still flickering on my screen out here, but it's up here on the main screen. I can work. That's perfect. Fine. So if you guys can see it now, I'm okay. So, the first point of, our comments here or position here is a request of an increase
will be settlement only, $7.7 million, roughly half of the company's requested increase, but still a significant increase over current rate. But still utilizing that 3-year phase in to pay for how quickly that comes up on your bill itself. This is based on a number of different changes and comparison of positions to the companies. For example, we requested an 8.2% return on equity. That is what their interest they get for their shareholders that goes towards those costs.
Thank you all for and your anxious day about this process and the important information. So thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule today to come here. This is a very important topic. So the slide showing up, we have our contact information up there. Feel free to take a picture, leave me outside during the mission to get our contact information and sign up for our newsletter and talk about it. Again, thank you for coming out today.
All right, thank you, Mr. Astrab. Our final presenter tonight is Madison Payne. She is the litigation counsel representing the staff of the Kansas Corporation Commission. Hopefully successfully for the staff's representation. And sorry, just a quick reminder to everybody that speaks tonight, we are getting some feedback that folks on who are having difficulty hearing. So if any of us up here using microphones now, or anybody has a question, you make a comment later, the microphone, really speak into it.
Yes, please let me know if you can be heard. I can't be heard at any point. Good evening, and thank you all for being here. My name is Madison Payne, and I'm an attorney who represents the Kansas Corporation Commission's technical staff. Tonight, I will provide a high-level overview of what the Kansas Corporation Commission is, what its role in this case is, as well as an overview of who the Commission staff are and what their role in this case is. Next, I will highlight the main points about Empire's request of the Commission in this case, and then I will explain what the rest of the process for this docket will look like. I will compare Empire's request to the recommendations staff has made in its filed testimony in this docket. Finally, we'll share what the remaining process is for this docket and a few ways that the public can stay informed and get involved in the remainder of the process. The Kansas Corporation Commission is a state agency headed by 3 commissioners. The commissioners collectively act as a body determining matters that come from. The current commissioners are Chair Andrew French, Commissioner Dwight King, and Commissioner Anna Keeper. The commissioners are elected by the governor and serve staggered 4-year terms. The commission has jurisdiction to oversee a number of industries, including electric, natural gas, and telecommunications. There is a procedure in place of the commission to determine the merits of the cases that come before them. Administrative proceedings at the commission look very similar to a trial that you would see in a district court. The commissioners act as judges. They hear and weigh the evidence, witnesses testify before them, and they issue orders that can be appealed to higher courts. The commission's technical staff act as a party to these cases. They develop and defend their own independent positions, recognizing that their duty is owed to the state of Kansas and the general public. This slide provides a visualization of how this is set up. At the top are the three commissioners. In a formal proceeding like this, there are different parties, including the utility, the commission's technical staff, and numerous interveners representing a variety of interests. Interveners could be the consumer advocate organization or other entities. As you can see, all of these groups are separate parties to the case, and like in a court, it is the attorney's job to present their client's case to the courts. To aid in the commissioner's determination on any given application, the commission employs a staff of professional auditors, financial analysts, economists, and engineers who are available day in and day out to provide guidance and input. The commission technical staff are state of Kansas employees that have a tremendous amount of professional knowledge and training in fields such as accounting, economics, engineering, and financial analysis. During proceedings before the commission, staff advocates on behalf of the general public, which is another way of saying that it is their job to balance the interests of all utility customers, the long-term health of the utility, and the state of Kansas. Staff has the challenging job of objectively analyzing all of the opinions in a case, and then providing an independent, neutral, and balanced recommendation that furthers the public interest of the state as a whole. On December 31st, 2025, the Empire District Electric Company, doing business as Liberty, filed an application seeking commission approval to change the rates that it charges its customers in Kansas for electric service. Empire is asking the commission to allow it to collect $15.8 million that it states it has spent investing in infrastructure and serving its customers since the last rate case. Empire would collect this amount from its customer by charging each customer an additional amount on their monthly electric bill. You can access Empire's application and the associated pre-filed testimony on the commission's website, and I will provide details regarding how to do so at the end of my talk. Now that Empire's application for a rate increase has been filed, commission staff is undergoing the process of conducting a thorough independent review of this request. This review includes an in-depth analysis of Empire's financial records, which allows staff to evaluate the application, accuracy, and compliance with Kansas law and commission regulations. Staff's investigation also involves an identification of any positive or negative potential impacts of Empire's request on Empire's ratepayers, Empire as a company, and the public generally. During this investigation, staff determines which costs Empire is legally entitled to recover and which costs are not appropriate for Empire to recover from its customers. Once staff completes their investigation, they submit written testimony indicating their position on the application. After written testimony is filed, staff continues to actively participate in the proceedings and advocate for its position. Staff's role is not to help one party over another, but rather to provide independent assistance to the commissioners to balance competing interests and evaluate the total impact of the application on the public interest. On May 6th, 14 staff members filed direct testimony outlining the thorough audit and investigation that they performed of Empire's application. Ultimately, staff believes that Empire has taken good faith steps to try to reduce the magnitude of the impact of its request, but that Empire's efforts have not gone far enough to address the serious affordability burden that this request creates for Empire's customers. This slide illustrates the difference between what Empire has requested that the commission approved and what staff has recommended that the commission do based on an audit of what Empire is entitled to recover. Staff is recommending that the commission approve this rate increase on a 3-year phased-in basis to try to lessen the affordability impacts of Empire service. If the commission approves staff's recommendation, the average residential customer of Empire, Kansas would experience an approximately $9.33 per month increase on their electric bill and utility, then an additional $7.38 increase in consumer, and another increase of $9.38 per month in year 3. Again, later I will explain how the public can access staff's pre-filed written testimony to see how staff reached the conclusion that it did and why. Remaining deadlines in this document are shown on the screen. On May 20th, the parties to this document will file cross-answering testimony in response to drug testimony filed. On June 3rd, the parties to the document may file rebuttal testimony. Under the current schedule, the public comment period will end at 5 p.m. on June 5th. And so if you intend to submit a written comment in this docket, you must submit by that date. Staff appreciates and encourages public comment on this matter. On June 8th, the parties will meet for a settlement conference to discuss any possible resolution of the issue before the commission. On June 22nd, the Commission's Office of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection will compile a report of the public comments submitted in this docket and for the parties and commissioners to review to inform their decision-making in this docket. From June 22nd to June 24th, the Commission will hold an evidentiary hearing regarding Empire's request. The Commission will offer a live stream of that evidentiary hearing on the Commission's YouTube page. And a Commission order deciding this matter will be issued by August 28th, 2026. In my final slide, I want to leave you with information on how you can submit a public comment in the docket with all of the proceedings on our website. I will leave the screen up in case you want to take a picture of it or write down this information. Again, the first way that you can make a comment is by speaking here tonight. Staff and representatives from Empire are here to answer any questions that you may have. Additionally, you can send your comments to our public affairs office by submitting them online, by mail, or on the phone. And again, the information for each of these options is on the screen. The public can also follow these proceedings on our website by going to the docket filings tab, entering the docket number, which again is 26 EPDE 0180 RTS. And there you can see all filings that have been made, including Empire's application and staff's. Again, thank you all for coming out tonight. We look forward to any questions.
All right, thank you, Ms. Hayden, and thank you to all of our presenters. As I mentioned before, we're going to do a Q&A session before we take a break, and then we'll go to public comment. But now is the time. If anyone has questions for either Liberty Empire or the KCC staff on their presentations, this is the time for that. I do want to stress that this session is distinct from the public comment session. This is an opportunity to ask questions to better understand either Liberty's application or the role of HERB or the KCC staff in analyzing that application. This is separate from the public comment period. So if you have a comment you want recorded as part of the record of this proceeding for the commissioners to consider, make sure you wait until the second part of the program provides that. So now, for those here in the room who would like to ask a question, if there is anyone, please form a line at the back. I believe there's a microphone right in the middle. Just form a line at that microphone. And just take turns stepping up to the microphone so everybody can hear your question. If we have anybody participating on the group, please just use the raise hand feature. I believe that's under the app button. And we'll just alternate between those in person and those online as long as we have questions. So don't be shy. Either raise your hand online. You got a question. It looks like we have one in the room, and you'll just begin with your name and whoever.
So I'm Tiana. This one's for Joseph. Madison went over her groups when they would approve for their step up plan. And I know you said you didn't approve, like your group was opposed to parts of it. What was your step up plan looking like?
Thank you very much for the question. So, yes, I want to clarify that we were supporting your phasing plan that's been proposed by the company, supported by the staff. Where we recommend a lower level increase compared to what the company's doing. So same step up plan, just different number involved.
Right, but what numbers?
Oh, the total number was $7.6 million. And so we were checking through, but the calculations made a little different. So it was about $11 per month, the initial first year. And I believe it was going on there, around 10 cent here, I think around 9 and a third. So that will depend on our final numbers and also how we allocate the different increasing home care process.
All right, we don't have anybody with their hand raised online, so we'll just go to the next in the room.
My name is Laura Atkins, and I have a question for Empire. I was just wondering when your recovery riders charges are paid or are paid for, do the bills ever go down? Like our winter's charcuterie, how long does that surcharge last?
Well, yes, that's a good question. So, you know, Winter Storm Uri was a one-off of this. And so eventually that one will come off the bill. But, like the property tax rider will be there too, because there's always going to be a chance. Property tax. The way that mechanism works is there's a true, but it does reset with a general rate case. No reset zero.
So when Winter Storm Uri is paid for, how do we know that's gonna be done?
Well, you can go out and you can look online about tariffs, it'll spell out, there's some special riders, section of the tariff, www.com. And you can see, it should specify there, I don't have the data on top of my head for that. But I can definitely look at the education.
And I have one really quick question. Do you know what commercial rates will be doing, because I work for a rural water district? And if our rates go up 40%, we're talking $800 to $1,000 a month increase. And that will be passed on to the customers. Because we have to stay in business.
Yeah, so I will say, I don't have the figures in front of me for the commercial impact. But I will say it will be going up, probably someone. So I can give you hard ones.
That's gonna be a big hardship because these people are on fixed incomes and I'll leave it for my comments.
All right, I still don't have anybody online, so we'll continue here in the room.
Hello, I'm Derek, this question is for Liberty. So you released this proposal on November 31st of 2025. When did you start internally discussing it?
I'm sorry, I couldn't quite hear you say that again.
This proposal was released to KCC on December 31st, 2025. When did you internally start discussing these rate increases?
So we started pressing the case, I would say, in July of 2025. It's a, 5 months essentially to get that case built. And we discussed the impact early on in the process. We see that the revenue requirement calculation is going to yield a large figure. So we started those conversations in July.
Did any of these conversations make it to the public by any chance?
I couldn't speak to that, not from me personally.
So one of my main gripes is the transparency of it. Obviously, in July of 2025, I passed the big beautiful bill act, which took the 30% tax credit on solar energy on December 31st. And also signed the same day you released this to the KCC. So I just feel like the transparency of this, where you guys talked about July, not releasing the public comment on it. And then all of a sudden on December 31st, you release it with the tax credits on solar. So there's no oversight on that. The other question I had was the metrics you used to measure the reliability of the grid for interruption and duration of those interruptions. How does this compare to other providers in the area?
Yeah, so there is, again, I would point you to direct testimony. I'm not a reliability expert, but what I can tell you is we talked about that in direct testimony, and I think we'll actually use some additional. But you can find that under direct testimony about it. And I think it'll speak to that. I think there's some charter.
Everybody would come here to agree you're going to be charged more, obviously, compared to the other industries or utility companies, as well as the average more frequency of durations or frequency of outages and the duration of outages that we're going to pay for. So that's why I really see So just making sure that if we're gonna pay for it, you guys have a metrics to track it and show it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will stay in the room.
Hello, this is for Liberty Utilities. And I really don't mean this microphone, but anyways, I'm a little upset with my electric bill as well as everybody else. I believe there is a lot of miscommunication with Liberty and our residents. I'm a renter, I am not a homeowner. And I don't think it is correct that we should be charged for more usage than what we are, like the wind, and like the infrastructures going around town. We didn't ask for you guys to come around and put new telephone poles up when wood poles were just great. I disagree with these metal ones or the wrought iron ones you're putting up, the stoplights. Do you realize I was almost hit 3 times here in Columbus and I was in a crosswalk because I kept the lights, because of the stoplights. I was in the right, the other people were in the wrong. They consumed me. I literally put my hands on the hood of one vehicle. And I had one of my pups with me again. And then I was making a crosswalk. It's all because of the electrical system around here. And you guys are jacking our electric up. All you're doing is robbing from Peter to pay Paul. And then on top of all this, you expect us to pad your pockets when I don't think it's right. It's communication all together. And I have to wag my tongue because I'm also an advocate for everybody here and a lot of my senior citizens. And I will advocate for anybody who asks me to, because I stand firm. I might be 6 wheels strapped underneath me, but let me tell you, I had to charge my chair every night. And I'm on a breathing machine at home every night. I'm on 5 different inhalers. I had to choose between paying for my groceries, which I like to eat, or buying my medication, or paying my utility bills. Now, how are we going to support to do that? We can't, not with me here on a fixed income and everybody else that's on a fixed income. I disagree wholeheartedly, and I will oppose this. I will not go with this. Do I have to go into a cave to the mountains and live in a power chair, or not a power chair, but a wheelchair? I can definitely do that. I'll be more than happy to do that than to pay you guys' pocket. I'll use a cooler of those lamps. I'm 70. I will use a kerosene lamp. I will live off the land. It don't bother me. So I disagree wholeheartedly. I won't be bothering anybody anymore. I guarantee it.
Okay, thank you very much. I don't have any hands online. Oh, looks like I do have another in the room. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is for Liberty. I would like to know, you were mentioning it's for your upperages per year for 3 years is for people using 1,000 kilowatts and over. How about us that are using 700 and under kilowatts? Are we gonna get up to $65? And some people per month in year 3, if so, that's more than 50% of an upgrade.
Yeah, so
And I'm a veterans advocate and should be doing that.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Yeah, so, obviously that was scaled down. If you use under 1,000 kilowatt hours, correct, depending on the rate design is. Agree to or. Mitigate.
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, can you hear me now? Right, perfect. So yes, if you're using less than 1,000 kilowatt hours, the rate design, the way this process works, is we have a proposed rate design. Staff and Curb, both do as well. And so depending upon how the process ultimately, ends up, that would affect you. And on some level, if you're using less energy, your bill would be not as dramatically affected as 1,000 kilowatt hour comparison that you saw on the screen.
So that's depending on things you don't know of at this time, correct? That's what I just got from what you said.
I'm sorry, can you just repeat that?
You said that's depending on some things that you're unaware of at this time, depending upon.
Yeah, like right now, what you see on our screen is it's assuming we get every dollar that we ask for as a direct buy.
Assuming and depending on, I just wanted to. Thank you.
Thank you, and we will stay in the room. Next question.
My name is Joe Tagliano. Just curiosity on the percentage increase. How much of that by percent was is it to pay for the wind farms of the else? So I don't have that number at my fingertips. What I can tell you is that, we have various positions in this document right now related to that. So some of the gap between our 15.8 for 7.5-ish million dollars would equate to the wind farms. I think it's somewhere in the range of $4.5 million, but there's also an added complex situation because there's four factors. So our bills will go down eventually. Is that what you're saying? No, I didn't say that. So how is that passed on to the customers? Well, it will be through the ECA line item on the bill. So that piece of it will be.
All right. Any more questions in the room? There's nobody at the microphones, and I don't have anybody on. All right, I got somebody. Yeah, go ahead.
Hello. My name is Nick Jordan. I just had a quick question. I don't know how smart people up there, especially over here. Have you done any analyticals to see? I know it's gonna affect us if they get the 40%. What's that gonna do to the businesses around here, to us? I mean, I just heard the water, I didn't even think about that, but heard that goes up $800. That's gonna affect us. Any store or anything that has refrigeration, that's going to pass out. Has anyone looked at that? I can go through.
So, my name is Chad Ryan. I'm the chief of accounting and finance here at the ACC. So generally, when we look at the residential per customer impact, that's looking at just the average residential customer. But there's both a fixed component of that charge. And in our recommendation, the current fixed charge is $14.25. Our year one would go to $16.90, year two, $19.04, and year three, $22.19. And so that's the fixed component of the charge. Now, the variable component of how much energy is used per household, that will depend on whether you're above average or below average. But it will filter in through the entire economics of the rate area that's affected. It's not just the residential customer impact, and I think that's why staff in this case has tried to make recommendations that would overall come in at a reasonable impact and
essentially, it would basically go to the low end of our recommendation. From a 9.75% return on equity to a 9.3% return. And staff would not be allowing carrying charges on the revenues that are not being accumulated. So that way the residential impact analysis that's provided is kind of staff's overall residential customer impact. You would have to look at the testimony of Lana J. Ellis. She has a breakdown in her testimony of the individual impacts to all of the various customer classes of Empire. But I would definitely refer customers to her testimony to look at the overall rate impact of the region. Just keep going here in the room.
I'm Kaylee Stevens, and, I have a question on, I guess, for Liberty. You're saying, less than 1,000 would be cheaper, but on your screen, I think you're, billing for 1,000 usage is under $100. I would like to see that bill because mine is not. And I have not even turned on my AC at all this year. So I'm just curious, I have a total electric house, but I hardly ever cook because I live by myself. I don't get a 40% raise out of my job. How can we afford a 40% raise in our bill? And then why are we paying for property taxes for y'all when we don't get help on our property taxes?
Thank you for the comment, the question. So first off, if you have a bill that's not kept from the property, so obviously great time, you got out there and back. It's only one of the things that has to greater detail. Number two, I think there's a question on this.
While we're seeing that ad valorem charges,
Yeah, okay.
which is what, property taxes, personal property and real estate taxes?
Yeah, so that is a normal part, piece of the cost of service. So whenever we go through our audit, it's just like anything else.
Go ahead here. Get a little help. There we go.
My name is Judy Block. And like I said before, I don't need a PA. I have a lot of friends and family members that I have to advocate for. I have renters, not myself, but I rent. I have other family and friends that rent. And we are wanting to know, why should us renters have to pay? In fact, I think I can speak to anybody here that's a homeowner as well, that's not on solar power. Why should we have to pay for something you guys didn't let us know about several months ago? Because I didn't get nothing in the mail. Did anybody else here get anything in the mail? I don't think so. When I first got my first hearing, my cardboard paper in the mail was just a couple of days ago, and that's it. And then I got a phone call tonight when I was out of town. That's why I'm hot right now. Because I don't get notification about this several months ago. It's not right, and this is why I'm saying, you need to listen to the public a lot more in detail. We need communication, not miscommunication. That's the whole point, that's the whole key, is communication in life. And can you answer any question that's gonna benefit us as renters or homeowners or what? A lot of people I see around here are going to solar panels, okay? What about these big old turbines that's going around here? What about these new telephone poles that's going around here? We didn't ask for them. So why are you putting the telephone poles up, the metal ones, when the wooden ones are fine?
So I can't speak to the decision on the telephone poles. I think, if you can talk to our group in the back, I might be able to catch together. We can talk about, why those poles are chosen, those kinds of things, but I will say the process of the rate case is designed for staff, for gate area comments. We're able to evaluate the prudency of those gates. And so I will say, as poles reach the end of their useful life, we need to replace them to keep the system strong. So we are required to. And so, as far as the decision of wood and metal.
But I'm gonna say one thing. Have you checked price metal, price the wood? I'm trying to find somebody now that can make a storage shed for me, and this is not wrong. I don't have checked price. Just a little 4x8 or 2x4 piece of wood. It's ridiculous. It's because of all the storms that we're having, the hurricanes and tornadoes, you name it. And not only that, I used to be a homeowner. Yeah, I used to be one. But you guys are digging into my pocket and digging into my grocery bill, which I would rather eat than to pay. Now, I'm gonna tell you one thing, I'd rather go pay a farmer for the cow. Pure meat. The grocery bills, the groceries at any store you go to is outrageous. So anybody who wants to get a hold of a cattle rancher, get a hold of me, because I got one, real nice one. But anyways, the point is now our water bill's going up, and it's gonna keep going up every year, 3%. Mine has, don't think I haven't done some talking to them too, because I'm upset. Everything's going up. The price of gasoline is going up. It's gonna keep rising until the Iran war is over. Are you gonna help pad our pockets? Are you gonna help pay for our gas? No, I don't think so. I know not. But if it wasn't for President Trump, which I'm really glad he's in, maybe everybody else ain't, but I know I am. they'll probably be against me. Oh, well, I don't care. But the whole point is this form that you guys got right here? You're not very communicating to us. I don't feel like you are, whether the attorneys are there or not. It's a freedom of speech, my First Amendment right. So I will say one thing, several things, this was one of them. I don't think you guys are being forthwith, because if you would have, you wouldn't have done the miscommunication of sending everybody in this place or abroad a letter instead of these little postcards letting us know, hey, this is so-and-so, you know, let's get together. You know, yeah, I appreciate everybody being able to come to the public hearing. That I do appreciate. But I don't appreciate you guys going behind everybody's back. That's not the way to do a business. You guys, look at when Empire was in, okay, and you're saying that you've been doing this since 2022? Well, I'm gonna take you something else. When I had an old account number on my bill, what happened to that old account number? You guys changed it. You changed my account number, might not everybody else's, but you sure changed mine. And I wanna know why it was not, why it was changed. Can you tell me that?
Yeah, so I assume you're talking about around March or April of 2025. Or 2024, sorry.
I couldn't tell you honestly when it got changed.
What I can speak to is we did the system we talked about, the information system changeover. That changed our everything, that changed our bill, work orders, our billing, our accounting software. And so with that, the way that system was configured, there was a change, to customer accounting and the characters of it. And so that is probably the change that you're referring to. But again, if you want to, not to bill, I encourage you to talk to the ladies out there, at the table to the left, they probably look out for you.
All I know is I gotta deal with the grafting. I don't like doing the grafts because I know what I paid the last month. I'm very good at my money management. Very, very good. And I know what I paid, and I know what my transaction ID numbers are. I know when I paid it, how much I paid, and what I paid it by. And anybody can go through all of my bills for the last 7 years. That's how long we're supposed to keep our bills. 7 years. Anything you pay, 7 years. I just don't appreciate the miscommunication and you guys not being forthwith and telling us what we are looking at. 40%, you're digging into my pocket for my food. And I like to eat, like I said before. So I don't think you're right. I desperately will oppose this amendment. I don't think anybody should have to pay 40% over the next 3 years. That's full hockey.
All right, thank you. And we're at 7:10. I'd like to take a break and move to public comments here pretty soon, but I do see we have a few more people. So if you do have a question, just go ahead. Reminder, this is the Q&A session. If you have a comment, make sure you make that and post it.
Just have a couple of quick questions on the wind farms. So is there a performance and maintenance record already required for these? Are they generating a profit already? Or is it something that you haven't actually taken into account?
So on the wind farms, and I would encourage you to go out to the website, Aaron Dole talks about the wind farms and that link in his testimony. So he's way more depth into that. but I would say there's gonna be some valuable.
Are they already acquired? Or not?
Are the wind farms acquired?
Have you acquired already?
So they are, again, they're talking about in that testimony, so I would point you to it, but I believe it's a tax equity partnership, if I remember right. So, there's some complexities with those types of agreements. But they are part of our rate base, and they are in other jurisdictions.
Kansas is also being at that point, what about the for wind farms are already operational, generating revenue. That revenue should be applied towards the cost of those wind farms instead of. Right. I mean, it's you now saying requested income. And if you're requesting the entire two farms, then you're disregarding the profit that we're already generating from each of that.
And I think that's discussed at length in that testimony, so I would encourage you.
Once again, I'm from commission staff, and I'll just speak a little bit more to wind farm investment, that has occurred. That investment in Empire made in 2021, it was $565 million for the plant. The revenue that's being kicked off is about 3.28 million per year. That's the amount that you see offset in staff's revenue requirement, moving it from 8.5 million to 4.4. That revenue will flow back to customers, both for the energy partnership, for energy that is sold into the SPP market. That will flow back through off-system sales margin. Non-energy related revenues will also flow back to customers via PCA. And that in total is that $3.28 million offset that you're seeing both from staff's position and Empire's. So the revenues do flow back. That investment was something that is being incorporated into rates this time in 2021 when we evaluated the revenue basis. There wasn't necessarily a need for capacity at the time, so staff's recommendation was to not allow that investment into rate base. However, there has been a significant shift in the SPP market's need from a reliability basis and an accreditation basis. And Aaron Bowles' testimony does speak to the level of benefit that Kansas ratepayers have also already gotten just from those assets being owned by Empire. And that wouldn't have been, if any of those costs would not have been paid for up until rates get incorporated in this case.
All right, we will take one more question, and we've got one more person with the microphone.
What I'd like to know is, are you going to tell us where you're spending all the money? Line item?
If you can speak into the microphone a little more, it's very quiet.
Could you tell us? From your question. Are you going to line item tell us where you're spending the money, what our benefits are going to be? What are you spending all of this money on? How much of it is actually fraud? How much of it is reckless spending? How much of it is going to increase your salaries and bonuses? Where is the money going? When you buy something, you want to know what you're spending it on. I'm buying your salary. I want to know where this spending, what you're doing for us other than making our rate. Second question, and you can answer that in both, just like I'm asking both. Second question, you all know that we are in the midst of solar energy future. There's a lot of people that are trying to support it and those against it. Where's your stand on that? Are you guys looking at raising our rates with the thought of solar coming? And we need more poles and electrifying, and therefore you're gonna look at eminent domain for land. And pay for all of this? Is that part of what your rate increase is? Kind of on the back burner there, and you're not telling anyone? We have mentioned that, where are you with this solar? Because the existing lines, from what I understand, will not carry power.
Okay, so, what I will say is that's what this process is designed to do. So staff is going through line by line, our financial statements. They're looking at where we're spending our money now.
Are you going to make that available to us?
Our financials are online and available for inspection.
How do you find it?
How do you
find it?
I can get you a link, I'll find out first.
Is it anywhere on the bill?
Real quick, so from staff standpoint, we went through all of Empire's costs and investments in between rate cases. Empire's invested about $1.8 billion in its system between rate cases. $733 million has been on new generation, while about $720 million has been on its distribution system. And the rest of the investment of the $143 million is from general plant and intangible plant investments, both from IT infrastructure and general plant. But Empire is making considerable net investments in its Kansas system, and that is part of what this rate case is designed to incorporate. And I think from that aspect, if you look at my testimony, as it would be testimony of Chad on page 14, and there's a table number 1. It breaks down all of the investments have been made in the system for 2020 through 2025. Of my direct testimony. Yes. Chad, I'm right. It'd be the chief of accounting and financial analysis for the KCC.
But the new rate, what are you gonna spend it on?
Could you repeat that?
Get closer to the microphone.
That he's talking about on the what passed it now. He could have said, what great thing is coming?
So
Are you building a ballroom? What are you doing for us? Or is this all part of the new line for solar or wind? I've seen that.
So the company's revenue requirement as filed shows the company's currently earning a rate of return of 1.03%. Now, once we updated that for known and measurable adjustments to the end of December of 2025, it's actually ticked slightly down. So the really the idea behind this process. The idea behind this process is fine. There are numbers and also there's obviously that all know. But at the end of the day, I don't care about it. So in order to respond to that, say the utility has to be financially proper. Rate case process is a way to ensure that it is, so it can respond swiftly. That's the problem. That's it. You know, that's the
I don't have a problem with that. That's the second on. And so again, I'm asking, are you guys on the back burner, like, you know, big lines going through our land, farm, going through our land, and for the solar that they can, you know, that what you're gonna do.
I can tell you there's no solar that's a piece of this case.
Right now.
All right, thank you. Okay, we've got a rolling question, so I'm gonna give everybody a 5-minute break right now. We'll come back at 7:27-ish. And we will begin the public hearing. We're in recess, right now. Commissioner Dwight King and Commissioner Andy Keither are on Zoom and listening in. So we will. Just trying to. They're part of our evaluation process.
I put it up
Part
for
of
them.
the official record as we examine whether this application. Consequently, we look at all your comments tonight. The commissioners cannot engage in dialogue during the public comment session. However, we may ask questions for clarification. I have a list of people here, provided by my public affairs office of people who have indicated they would like to offer comments. I'll call those names in the order that they appear on the list. If you are participating on Zoom, please use the raise hand feature under the react button if you wish to make a comment through Zoom. So we will alternate between our live audience and Zoom as long as we have folks online that want to comment. And if you are on Zoom, after I call your name, you can go ahead and unmute at that time. So we will start with my listeners in the room. Once I call your name, please move to the microphone. Begin by stating your name and the city or county where you reside, as these comments are being recorded and as they will become part of the official record. So we will start with those in the audience, and the first name I have is Wendell Hayes. Go ahead, sir. You've already got my name, so. It's 15.8 billion. Cost for investment. Now, that's quite a bit to invest, and who made the decisions to make those investments? Why would we, or the consumer, ask to accept and pay for those increases on a decision that we had nothing to do with, and we had no voice in it? You know, I was listening earlier, and they were talking about the government increase, and they're less than what Liberty increase did, and everybody wants us this conversation. So if they're not going to be some money, Liberty can charge even more than what the government wants to charge. All right, thank you very much. We do not have any hands online, so I'm going to stay in the room. Judy Blum.
My name is Judy Blum. I live in Columbus, Kansas, Cherokee County. My question is pretty much like the gentleman asked. Why is it that we, as renters or taxpayers, why is it that it's so much higher in Cherokee County and in Columbus, our taxes and everything? But all you guys are doing is raising it up, raising our electric up, our taxes up. I pay my taxes too, but it doesn't make any sense. Why are you guys are 9.75% in taxes? I was told that Cherokee County is one of the highest here in Kansas. Why is that? When we should be one of the lowest ones. We are in poverty. I myself am a senior citizen and proud of it. And I don't have a problem advocating for myself or anyone else. But I have people that need to get answers. If you are going to do this, then how come I wasn't notified? I get snail mail, and it's very smelly now, because I didn't get my electric bill for a solid month because of them. And it's not my fault. And then when I do get, which was just a few days ago, then I get another bill saying that I didn't pay $100 and something. Excuse me, yes, I did too. I can tell you when I paid it and how much I paid. But the point is, it's not how much I use. The point is that you guys keep jacking it up every time I turn around. I'm a senior and I live alone and I have 3 babies, Pomeranians. They're my children with paws. And they are better and they communicate better with me. And they're on a very strict diet. I will not restrict their food because I have to pay your bill, your infrastructure, your TDC rider, whatever, your windmills, whatever. The whole thing is you did not communicate with us. Miscommunication. Communication is the key to anything getting settled. That is why I'm here tonight, because I want my voice to be heard very loud, and I don't need this here. I have a very good PA. Do I need to show it to you? I don't think you want to hear my PA, do you? I don't think you do want to hear it. So anyway, that is why I say I don't need a microphone. I am like my mama when she was alive. She speaks her piece and I will speak mine. I will oppose this right here. No, I don't think we should have it going on at all. We should stay where we're at. Our water bill is going up every year. It's going up 3%. Maybe 3.8%, but it keeps going up. And we need to stop this. We need to lower the taxes in Cherokee County, period. The Cherokee County shouldn't be 9.75, not even 10%. You're just a hair away from 10%. So the way I look at it, people, we need to all be arm in arm and oppose this. They're gonna do what they wanna do anyway, but we have a voice. We should be heard, and I will speak my piece all the way to. If I have to go to the Supreme Court, I'll go all the way to Washington. It don't matter, I got a mobility van. So, hey, let's all go arm in arm, and we can fight against this. I think we should, just like Missouri did. I watched every bit. So, you know, our gas is gone up. It's, you know, it's already over $4 a gallon. I know I paid $3.89 just today. Or was it yesterday? Anyway, it's probably yesterday. But $20 ain't gonna hardly fill my van up anymore. It used to fill it all the way up. And have a little bit of change left. But, you know, other people, they don't know, seniors that have to choose between buying groceries, getting medication, paying their utility bills. I don't think it's right. Why should we have to make that choice? As an American citizen, we should be arm in arm and fight you guys all the way through to the Supreme Court, and I'll be the first one to do it. So, if you guys want me to go to the Supreme Court, I can do that. Just let me know where and when. It don't matter, I'll go to Washington. I'd love to see God's green country again. But ones I'm feeling sorry for is these farmers. You're gonna dig into their pockets. We are being fed from the farmers, and then the truckers get it, and then that's how we are being fed. And you guys are robbing from all of us. So it's not fair. It's not right. You are padding your pocket because you do get a profit. You can't tell me you don't, because I know better. Anybody who's been around the block can tell you, you are getting a profit. And I've been out to a couple of times out here, they tell me to come in here and talk with you guys. Okay, I'm in here again, and I'm not getting no answers. The same thing, you're just gonna, over the next 3 years, you're gonna jack my bill up 40%. 22 million dollars? Dig that into your own pocketbook. That's the way I look at it. Don't come to all of those others and make us pay for something that you guys did miscommunication upon. You should be digging into your own pocket. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you very much for your comment. James Andre. That's correct.
My name is James. I'm a Liberty customer in Columbus, Kansas. Used to have an account in Missouri as well. Business there. Liberty's proposed rate increase on ACC docket 26 EPDD 0180 RTS. Liberty seeks to recover costs for infrastructure work that plans to be completed, upgrading aging equipment, improving customer service systems, and strengthening the power grid, yet in Columbus, Kansas, there is no such improvements occurred in at least 3 years. Poles are warped, trees scheduled for trimming multiple years back, and trimmed. And last year in September, a house fire at 524 East Maple Street resulted from a utility system failure from the aging equipment. And utilities this happened. So the one improvement they did make was repairing that house. And I can submit all of this to photos of what's in it. Liberty's parent company, Algonquin Power Utilities, manages multiple utilities across states with documented systematic failures, customer service, building integrity, and infrastructure safety. Liberty is presently under investigation by the Missouri PSC, on document number Oscar 2025-0233, over February 26, 2025, for systemic billing errors and customer service failures documented in March 6, 2026. 11,312 plus billing error corrections, incorrect tax franchise fees, and programming failures for the failed 2023 system that are requiring PwC audits. November 6, 2025, Missouri PSC commissioners explicitly found that Liberty has not met its burden and failed to meet just reasonable rate standards. These systemic failures directly undermine Liberty's credibility and fitness to recover costs in Kansas, claimed infrastructure work. I request the commission deny to defer the rate increase pending an independent external audit and safety inspection of Liberty's claimed capital projects. I further request the commission require completion of necessary safety repairs and vegetation management in all towns covered by Liberty before any cost recovery is permitted. Thank you.
Beverly Levant. Levante.
I live here in Columbus, Cherokee County. I would like to make some comments for some people that are still residing here in Columbus against some of the tax. I am an veteran advocate. I've helped with the elderly for decades. Before our property taxes as homeowners doubled, which they did. That happened, insurance on my house has doubled. I've never had a claim. And this is all within the last few years, but this is happening to our veterans, to our elders, to our young parents that hope to get to middle class. And I don't see how that's gonna happen. I know of 20 years ago, people, some with us, some not. The Mallarys, they are no longer with us. They would not run their heater in the winter, worried about finances. They wouldn't run even the ceiling fan or the air in the summer, and the house was extremely hot. I would have to make short visits constantly. Luckily, they were 5 houses away. But I've seen this with the phone breaks, the Smiths, and all. And I was born in San Diego, California. I'm a naval brat. I did 30. I moved to Vegas.
married Air Force, got 3 Air Force brats, so I've lived all over. But 20 of my last 30 years, you really don't have the income around here to be hitting people at 40–50%. If they're all working out in places I've been, yeah, they can afford it, but it's really not here. I think you should maybe try to grab a happy medium where we can get more middle class people. And then nobody has to worry about them using subsidies, everybody wants to hopefully progress in life. And I would just like you to know some of the history of this town I've learned. And I do appreciate the natural gas electricity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Laura Atkinson.
I'm just kind of commenting in about the cost, the commercial rates going up, affecting the residential rates. Like I said before, I work for a very small rural water district. The majority of the people are below poverty level. They're on fixed incomes. They might get a 2% increase in their social security, which is sucked up by their insurance usually. This kind of an increase is really gonna hurt them. And if the water cost for our district goes up $800 to $1,000 a month, the only way we can recover that is to pass it on to the customers. And I just feel like it's not gonna just be us, it's gonna be companies in town, it's gonna be grocery stores, it's gonna be every business. If their rates go up, you pass it on to the customers. So when you say, this is how much your average bill's going up, that's not the only increase these people are gonna see. They're gonna be seeing it everywhere. Another thing I heard, I think correctly, was the cost of the wind farms was $565 million. And revenue coming in is $3.28 million per year, if I'm incorrect. You can correct me, but why are we doing that? That's a ridiculous amount to pay, and it'll never be recovered. It would take 100 years, 200 years to recover that, and those windmills don't last that long. So I really feel like this was a total waste of money by the company, and it's being passed on to us now too. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Randy Bass. We have Randy with us. Keep moving. Jay White. Tiana Halcott.
So I get another Liberty Empire customer from here in Columbus, Kansas. The proposed rate of $15.8 billion spread amongst the 9,750 approximate residential and business customers in Cherokee County and in their Kansas district equates to a rate of $1,620.50 per customer on average at 1,000 kilowatt hours. While there may be some customers here who are under that, I am not. I have a home that harbors 5 children, with 3 of them being special needs. We live exclusively on my husband's VA disability income because our children require too much care. In year 1, this cost analysis would have each customer on average paying $142.56. In year 2, it would be $540.48. By year 3, the average customer would be paying would have paid $1,193.76. Meaning that they are in effect recapping the entire cost before year 4 is complete. However, in just quarter 1, 2026, their net income, meaning their profit line, so far as posted, is $23 million. Why are they not absorbing the infrastructure costs and the upfront costs of their own company. They're not providing us shares, they're not providing us profit sharing. We are not responsible for paying their bills. We do not give any say-so in this infrastructure. These updates, the windmill farms, matter of fact, many residents in the communities and the surrounding communities that have the windmill farms are greatly opposed. There is no reason and no other private business, even those that are publicly traded, in which we are expected to pay their property taxes, or we are expected to pay for their incoming new infrastructure. When we got new dollar stores here in town, when we get new Walmart supercenters, when we get new stores, new businesses, new restaurants, we're not directly getting a line item on our bill to say, hey, you're now paying because we changed out the restaurant, we painted the walls. There is no reason we should be paying for their infrastructure and their taxes.
All right, the last name I have on my list is Rosalie Locke.
My name on there,
Okay. So no comment?
you called my name.
And if anyone else has been thinking about making a comment, but you didn't get your name on here, please be ready. I'll give a last opportunity for additional comments after we're done. So go ahead.
I agree with what has been said here. I don't think that you people that sit in your glass offices,
You might step a little closer to the microphone.
understand what we go through every day. This is a very poor community. We work really hard. Now, we have all talked about different increases in costs of food and those kind of things. It's a farming community. How many farmers here today are going to fertilize this spring? How many of you are going to be able to put the amount of fertilizer that typically do on your bill? As a farmer, I know it's too expensive. And then we look at the cost of, she talked about the cost of water. We water our cattle from water that comes through the county. It's not, we don't use ponds. That increases our bottom line a lot. Where do you guys stop? Where do you look at it and say, hey, 40% increase, all of this, these increases that we went, this is a little excessive. Do you ever look in the mirror and say, hey, that's a little much? Because I don't think you do. I think you sit up here in your padded offices and they pay. We can take from them, we'll just increase our rates. We want more money. And again, I go back to where I said before, where's the fraud? I think there's so much fraud in your businesses and in these big companies today. We're seeing it more and more, and I think they're fraud.
All right, thank you very much for your comment. I am at the end of my list for folks that did sign up. But now is your last chance. If anybody else that didn't make a comment yet would like to step up, just head for the microphone. Looks like we've got a couple.
So my name is Danielle Salazar. I'm a real estate veteran, and I've been in this community for about 5 years now. I live in a 4-person household. My dad is a retiree. My mother is a retiree and had to go out of retirement because he couldn't afford bills. My brother works and I work. We all work full-time jobs. We all pay medical. I tried to help with VA for my medical. So I think just this month alone, my medical has been over $500 out of pocket. I can barely pay the electricity bill, which is my portion of the bills that we pay. My dad's on fixed income. My mom had to pull herself out of retirement to work a full-time job. My brother's helping with those. None of us can afford to move out. It's ridiculous. When they started changing the, updating the equipment, I never got a say. They put in a new meter at my house. They just said, hey, we're putting in a new meter. And then now all of a sudden, I find it funny that they want to charge us for all these updates they made, which we had no say. like they said, in the farming community, I used to work 2 jobs, but because I have injuries all over my body from the military, I cannot physically work those jobs. I can't work a cooking job. I have to sit behind a desk. I work with children, special needs children, some behavioral children. They're low income. That's all the lunch they get. Their parents can barely afford to feed them some. How are they gonna pay for it when I can barely pay for it? And we live with 4 people that are working.
Thank you very much. And, next comment, I don't have your name, so you'll have to start with your name.
Linda Jeffrey. I'm a senior citizen on Social Security. And this year, I got approximately 3% increase in my Social Security. Your 9% is 3 times that amount. A 9% takes away what a little income was available to us. We are fortunate that we can pay our bills, but there's a lot of senior citizens that cannot. And this is really gonna hurt us. Our community is a low-income community. And this is gonna put some hardships on people. People are gonna start leaving our area, which in turn makes us all that stay pay more. We have to hold the line somewhere. Thank you.
All right, are there any additional, folks that would like to make a comment before we close? I see we've got one more. My name is Ross King from City Office Address. Really lean into that microphone. Thank you. Yeah. I agree with the majority of everything that's been said here tonight, you know. Mostly, my biggest issue is this is essentially a monopoly. And we don't have another company that we can go to. There's not that option. But we don't, and even with that, we don't get a choice, like has been mentioned, in any of the poor investments that this company has made. So we're having to pay for bad investments in a company that we can't even have any type of say in. So that is a very egregious wrong, in my opinion. Don't have any say. On top of that, I mean, I got 5 kids myself. Most everybody here has, you know, kids, grandkids, you know, everybody lives on a very limited budget. So it's kind of ridiculous, you know, that bad decisions are made that are obviously bad decisions. It's not like, you know, it's kind of a gamble. This was, you know, there's been some really bad decisions made that are just directly costing us as a consumer. So I disagree with, you know, why that is. But this whole idea, I mean, when come here, it's been proposed a 40% increase. You know, everybody knows that, you know, gonna go, oh, well, we backed it down to, you know, 10 or 20%, you know, we compromised. That was basically the situation from the beginning, you know. So I disagree with a lot of how this even comes about, but we don't have any type of say. As far as that goes, I know, situations I believe over in Missouri where, solar fields, like people have invested in their own, personal solar properties. And then the company has turned around and said, well, we're not actually gonna give you the same rate that we would, solar farm or another individual. And so I think a lot of that plays into the cost of solar and investing in our own infrastructure and any of our own setups. So it's really, the company itself has prevented people from even being able to invest in their own system and break away from this monopoly. So in my opinion, there's a lot of wrong, a lot of different aspects that this company and other companies are doing that directly affect consumers. So you know, clearly I'm against the increase, but I'm against a lot of the other policies and bad decisions this company has made. And you know, if you guys as a commission, I would like to see you guys holding them more accountable
in these situations and in these areas, or giving us a way to hold that account, because we really don't have any type of a say in it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, is there anyone who has not been able to make a comment yet? It looks like we might have a repeat, but are there any, before we have a second comment, is there anybody that hasn't been able to make a comment yet that would like to make a comment? All right, I'm not, oh, we do have one, go ahead. And again, I don't have your name, so just start with your name.
Yeah, Jerry Levani, I live here in Columbus. I understand that they've invested a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars in their upgrades, but most of their customers are in Missouri, and I don't think that we should have to pay for upgrades that benefit customers in Missouri. I mean, that's just my thinking, where, this is a small portion of their customer base here.
All right, are there any other folks that haven't made a comment yet that would like to make a comment? All right, we'll start with the round two then. If, I believe it, is it Ms. Blunt? Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I'm Miss Plum. And do you realize I had friends that were around here in town? They can't afford the electricity or the property taxes. I have to talk to them on the telephone. Do you know how much that hurts me not to see them, come to eye with them? And not only that, but we have a lot of good eating places in this town. And we used to have a Walmart market here in town on High School and 160. They moved out for whatever reason. Used to have a Dollar General on the square. They moved out where Walmart market used to be. Okay? But the thing about it is, you can't even get a decent burger or a decent salad. Pizza Hut gone. They were bought out. And like I said before, the gas prices, I have to go and win a job. I get tired of putting miles on my vehicle just to go out to Walmart or to go get a decent burger or a good meal that I don't have to cook and that I don't have to wait on somebody. But the point is we have a lot of people in this town and we are on poverty. Okay, this is the lowest I have ever been, and I don't like being like this, and I'm sure nobody else likes it. But you guys should listen to us. We got the farming community. They don't need to be paying for your high outrageous bills. You guys, $21, $23 million, that's you guys' business. Don't make us poor folk, and I mean poor, we can't even afford the OR anymore. You don't need to be getting a hold of us and making us do your bills. And as far as I was told earlier, that my bill, it was stated on my bill that you guys were gonna have this thing. I never got my bill for a month later, which was just a few days ago. A month later. So that's what I'm saying. I always pay my bills. Because I do my own money management, like I said before. I don't like repeating myself. I don't like chewing my cabbage twice. But that's the way I was brought up. And I'm gonna stand firm on it. I don't think, the man that was here earlier, I think he is right. We should not have to pay for something you guys do long ago. And I agree with him 100%. And so the whole thing is just to have a child, which I would love to adopt. But the thing about it is, is that it costs very much to have a child nowadays. That's why my children have Paul's. But they're on a very strict diet as well. We have to feed them just like we feed ourselves. If the abuse, you're abusing us. You are literally abusing us by reaching into our pockets just to pad your pockets. You guys are making a profit, but that's yours. And I'm standing firm on it. So you got an attorney over there beside you. I don't care. But I will say, it's not right. We are a poverty county. And Columbus is really struggling. We can't, the companies here have ups and left. You know, they can't afford rent on certain things. They can't afford the bills. Your bills are outrageous. You're 9%. I was lucky if I got a 2 to 3% on my Social Security. And yes, I'm on Social Security. I worked ever since I was 16. So therefore, I don't get that much. I got people that haven't hardly worked a bit, and they get a whole lot more than I get. So the whole point is I worked all my life. And why should you? Just because I'm stuck in this chair, I got 6 wheels strapped underneath me, don't mean that I don't want to go to work. I'm still me. I'm in my right frame of mind. And if I wasn't, then yeah, I would have something to say that I can't do it. But no, they don't want to look at me this way. They want to look at my wheels. I would love to go out and go back to work. I really would. I would still write because of the way you guys miscommunication. The whole thing is that you guys need to have the dignity and the decency to notify everybody in writing several months before all of this. Several months. You shouldn't have the right to go out and dig into our pockets just to pad yours. You guys are making a profit. I don't think it's right. And I am gonna talk with everybody that says something, and I will agree 100%. The farmers, if it wasn't for the farmers and the truckers bringing the food here, then where would you guys be? Where would you be at? I'm just one person that is willing to go to the mountains to dig into a tunnel. I don't care if I have to live in my manual wheelchair and I take my baby to them. I'll use a Coleman lamp or propane, whatever it is. I'd go pay that money than to pay you guys. I really would. So I hope all this Voice of America is on TV tonight. I love to speak my piece. So thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Is there anybody, we got one more in. Yep. And go ahead and just leave with your name. Hello, I'm Nick Jordan. I live in Mulver, Kansas. About back here. I don't know if any of you are from back here. They have water issues down there. We have leaks. I work in the city. I'm a part-time, so I don't represent them, so I don't think I'm putting. But they don't have enough money to fix their water. Everybody wants water, but then the bills are low. And everybody wants water, they want the water lines all fixed, but they don't want to pay for the water. It's, you know, it's not gonna work that way. And I hate to go against everybody here, because I don't have that funding either. But at the end of the night, there's a storm coming. You know, these guys are out there, and they're working the butts off to get you back there. You know that, I mean, I know it personally, I've seen that back. So, and 40%, I don't know, 40%. But you got people working for the state. that, well, I think one of them was 740. I think they were 20%, and the other one was a little bit more. I don't know the percentages. But it's gonna be a compromise, and nobody wants to pay any more. But I still want electricity, right? And if they haven't had a raise in 4 years like that, I mean, I wouldn't want to continue to work my job. I've got a little part-time thing in the city, but I wouldn't want to continue to work my job without a raise. And I understand it's a business and I don't know the choices they made, not my business choice. I'm sure they're trying to do what their shareholders want. They need a return. I mean, that's what I'm getting at. I'm just saying, go easy on us. You know, that's all I mean. Thank
Thank you very much for your comment. Before we close, I have one name on my list, that there wasn't a response from, Randy Bass.
Further information you got.
Don't see Randy. All right, anybody else in the room that wants to make a comment before we conclude? Okay, I am not seeing any hands or anybody running the microphone. So I do, Michelle, can you put up, well, maybe our screens?
Yeah, we can do that.
So we won't put up the slide that's on everybody all the way to make it, but I will keep you reminded. So
We can do it.
The public comment period is open until 5 p.m. on June 5th. And as a reminder, there were also materials handed out this evening, and I'm sure they are still there, that outline the 3 ways in which comments can be submitted for our consideration. And just a reminder, those comments, even if you didn't make them live tonight, they carry the same weight as the comments that were made at this public hearing. The commissioners do receive all of them, whether they come, whether they're recorded by a phone, whether they are, come to our website. We get all of those comments and we read all of them. The commission will hold an evidentiary hearing on this matter June 22nd through the 24th, beginning at 10 a.m. in our first floor hearing room in Topeka.
Did we turn on?
And the hearing will also be broadcast on the Kansas Corporation Commission's YouTube channel, so you can follow along there as well.
Yeah.
And then finally, the commission will issue a final decision in this matter on or before August 28th. This concludes the public hearing. Thank you very much for your attendance and for making your comment. We are adjourned.
It probably just warms up. Yep, see, it's on there now. You're good, eyes. Takes a minute.
Yeah, remote works that far.
Yeah, well, hey, you hooked that thing up, so thanks. You saved my butt whenever I lost it.
Yeah, a lot of them.
Appreciate
We got a
it.
bunch of them.
Okay.